welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Those New York steaks, the ribeyes, and of course, those filet mignons are the best I've ever had. And hell, even those USDA Prime Wagyu Angus burgers are the best I've ever had. Certainly, probably the best you'll ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call. Find out what's for dinner. 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Of course, an astounding round of applause for Uppercut Chops for feeding me and the entire Sports Circus crew. Big welcome into everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And of course, Jackpot Radio right here in Las Vegas, as well as KVGK and KJPT, as well as all of our affiliates from coast to coast, from Honolulu all the way to Atlanta. Big hello to our friends up in Canada. We've got something for you today. Also, everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television, and Hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast. Listen, folks, we have a very special guest because we like to do these things. We like to help people protect and serve. In fact, we're going to let her introduce herself. Go ahead.
Sure. Thanks for having me. My name is Amanda Burge. I'm a constable with the Edmonton Police Service here in Alberta, Canada.
A constable at the Edmonton Police Service? A nice round of applause. So what does the constable do overall?
What does the constable do? Okay. There are a lot of roles, but for me specifically, I've always spent my time in patrol. So as a first responder, attending calls for service.
Okay, all right, that's good stuff. So you're the first responder. So when something goes sideways, you're one of those people that not only can help the cause, but you can even resuscitate people too, right?
Well, I wouldn't guarantee the resuscitation.
Right.
That's normally what the paramedics are good for. We try.
Right, but you have the ability to basically get those things done when people are in a pinch and there's nobody else around. You have that ability.
Yes, we take on all those roles.
That's good stuff. Now, do you ever work sporting events? I mean, look, this is a sports show, but we talk about sports and entertainment and all kinds of other fun stuff. And, we have a nice audience in the greater Alberta market as well, from Edmonton to Calgary. And of course, some points in between, even Red Deer. And so this one's for our friends up in Edmonton specifically. And do you ever work any sporting events and maybe be first responder for those?
I have, yeah. They're called our extra duty detail shifts. I've worked a few of them before.
Really? What does that entail?
We have a special login. It's managed by a different unit, and you get assigned jobs based on your availability and your experience. And so sometimes it's sporting events, sometimes it's different community events, whatever kind of things that they require the extra security for, and I think they have an agreement with the city on what events require that.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right, so you get to go to a lot of events and whatnot. Of course, you get in for free, which is even better, if you know what I mean, right?
No, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, right. It's always nice to get in, but more importantly, you get a chance to participate in the community in different aspects, and you're really visible, and people get a chance to see you. And unfortunately, in today's time, police and the people associated with the police get such a bad rap. I was raised in a house. My mother actually worked for the police department back where I grew up in suburban Chicago. And I know it was tough to have a positive attitude if you don't know what it's like to be in police life. What is the day-to-day positive that you deal with outside of protecting and serving? What do you gain the most out of being in your business?
I would say by far it is being able to see the community from a side that you would never be able to see. Seeing the way that you can support people and inspire people, especially some of our younger community members. When you have the opportunity to work those events, or even just in patrol, driving around, you stop and play a game of basketball with some kids that are out playing, things like that. The community engagement is by far the most rewarding thing of that job.
So when you're out patrolling around, and let's just say, of course, you have your radio with you, so in case you get a call or whatnot, if you're out playing a pickup game of basketball or whatnot, I think it's great for the kids because I think there's a lot of messages being sent by the social media community. Oh, police are bad, they're bad, they're bad, defund the police, and all this other garbage.
Yep.
Talk to me about the attitude of the youth in general throughout your area, in the Edmonton area, and how they receive the local police and or staff.
Yeah, I would say, like you mentioned, the social media side of that is a heavy influence on a lot of the opinions on police and how we work and what our intentions are behind things. And so, as we know, social media is often inaccurate. And, one person can have maybe a negative interaction, and those do happen with police. And then they share their perspective on it on social media. In some cases, that is beneficial and they can offer some change. But in some cases, it can be taken the wrong way and really cause people to have a horrible opinion of police. So sometimes when we will either have to go deal with someone for a call, maybe there's a call because they are a subject of the complaint, or if we're even going to stop and offer to play basketball, we have a few minutes and we just want to make that engagement. Sometimes they do have their back up a lot with us. But I've seen it so many times where after just talking to them, like we're normal humans, they're normal humans, we can have a normal conversation. I've seen it flip around drastically. And I've had kids say to me before that they are so amazed that, that the police can actually be cool, or that we can be normal and that it's okay to talk to us about things that are going on. So that's where I think those times where we are stopping to pay attention to young people when we're out on the job, it's so valuable, because that's the only way that we're ever going to beat a lot of the negativity on social media is by having those face-to-face interactions.
Right, folks, in case you're just tuning in, we are here with Amanda Burge from the Edmonton Police Service, and we're doing a show specially for our Canadian friends. And the Canadians tend to be really, really nice people versus here in the U.S. we're a little bit more abrasive and a lot more curt with people. And Amanda, I want you to talk about that I know that you have interactions with police in different parts of the world, let's say even right here in the United States. And look, they're all cordial to one another, generally speaking, but do you find that the police officers in the United States are maybe a little bit more short, a little bit more curt, a little bit more straight business?
You know what? They can be a little bit more straight business. That's maybe a good way to say it. But you know what? Most of my interactions have been to do with this race that we can talk about in a bit. But so most of them have been in kind of a more fun environment. Most of my interactions with police outside of Canada. But it's largely a personality thing. I'm sure we have those in Canada too. We're not always nice.
Well, look, the Canadians that I know, generally speaking, are leaps and bounds nicer than us down here south of the border, right? And when I say that, folks, we're talking in these United States of America, not south of our southern border. But then again, I mean, look, it's just the way things are done here in this country. People are hyper competitive about everything. But then the worst thing is, Amanda, when you think about the social media side of it here in our last few minutes of the segment, when you think of the social media side of it, social media tends to be antisocial, doesn't it?
Very much so, yeah. And it makes it hard to sometimes share true perspectives on things when it is so antisocial and one-sided.
Right, it is. And all we see, whether you're on Facebook or this one or that one, whatever the heck it is, right? All these social media sites, you have all these people, some of them are planted, some of them aren't, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you see so much of this, defund the police, defund the police. But then when they need the police, what do? They dial 911. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah, there's some interesting studies now that this has been a thing for so long about the results of defunding the police. And it hasn't necessarily been successful, let's say.
Take 30 seconds and talk about that.
Well, I can find some links here to show you. But in the end, the places that have defunded the police have seen huge jumps in crime. And ultimately, they're finding that they need to return that funding and get their police service back up and running, because it just doesn't help. People need the police at the end of the day.
They really do. And And when the wheels are coming off, the first thing they think, oh, my safety's in jeopardy and all this other stuff. But they seem to forget, hey, those people are out there to protect and serve. Those same people that you're always giving a hard time and you're always saying, hey, all these slurs towards them and whatnot. And then when they show up at your door in a moment's notice, oh, thank God you're here. But wait a minute, weren't you the one that was saying defund us in the first place?
Yeah, we'll still be there to help.
Yeah, I mean, talk about having to have thick skin. Folks, in case you're wondering, these are some of the coolest people on this planet, but they have given themselves to help the greater good. Yes, they make a buck doing it, but at the end of the day, they don't have to do it. They could do something else. But guess what? They're out here trying to protect your lazy asses and your ignorant asses. And I can say that because I can. But more importantly, they actually give a damn about what's going on. A nice round of applause from them. And Amanda, we're going to come back with you in just a few minutes here on the Sports Circus, and we're going to get into why you were in Las Vegas and why you come down here on a regular in just a few moments, folks. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you start up with capital, business strategy, sales, and marketing, and establish your company with a physical location or an online presence on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. Then American Business Trust can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com. Or call them at 657-600-1876. That's American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They'll help your business right away. That's American Business Trust Company. Online at abtrustco.com. American Business Trust Company.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thanks, Roy. I am your Ringmaster Sal, back here at the Sports Circus on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Thanks for joining us here with our very special guest, Amanda Burge from the Edmonton Police Service. This is really fun, folks, and guess what? This segment is brought to you in part by Amanda and her organization. She's going to tell you all about it. Go ahead, Amanda.
Thank you, Sal. Yes, so we met with the Edmonton Police Service team that was down in Vegas for the Baker to Vegas relay race.
All right.
Can I get into that right now?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you know that much about the race, but I'll just kind of give you a really, really brief history of what I know, at least about the race, is that it is from Baker, California. It's a relay race into Vegas. And it was started actually in 1985 by the Los Angeles Police Revolver and Athletics Club. And it's 120 miles there in the desert along the highway. So with 20 different legs, we have 20 runners, several spare runners and support team because we have different support vans out on the course as well. It's a really big event and a big production to put together. And so with us, we have our Edmonton Police team that I am team captain for. And we also have an awesome committee that we have put together. Majority being sworn officers on our team. We had one civilian, so non-sworn runner on our team this year, which was also really great. He came with us last year as well. We started our team just in 2019, but I heard about this race just a little over 10 years ago when I ran with the RCMP women's team. So a little shout out to them. I came down and had no idea what I was getting myself into, and then found this incredible event. So it's all law enforcement from across the world. This year there's Berlin from Germany and Australia, the Queensland team. They had two teams this year, RCMP, Calgary Police, also in Alberta. And that was really great. So we're the third Canadian team that actually attends this race. And we're the newest, I guess, because the RCMP and the Calgary teams have both done it for quite some time.
All right.
So,
That's good stuff. Please proceed.
So this year, we ended up placing in our guest category, second in the guest category, which is cool. The top 50% of your category, you get mugs, and they're massive mugs with Baker to Vegas and everything all over them for the year. It's really special. And we ended up, out of 234 teams, we placed 118th. So we're not an elite team. There are many elite teams, which are remarkable to see their timings. But we do really well. And of the Canadian teams, we are the fastest Canadian team. So that's where our competition lies.
Oh,
we just
really?
want to maintain that title.
Well, this is a really good thing. I mean, people don't really realize. Again, we go back to misconceptions of police, right? And that's really the focus of what we're doing here today. Because, look, we back the blue over here in Las Vegas, and all of our partners do as well. And all we're trying to do is, look, these are regular people, folks. And in case you don't know, they have families too. They have lives too, just like you. So whenever you put anything negative out there, it affects the entire community, not just your little circle. And unfortunately, you're doing more harm than good by saying awful things about the officers that serve.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sal. I think that especially in the past few years, I've seen it become really heavy within policing. And it does affect all of us. The majority, I can definitively say we are there because we genuinely want to be there to help people. We are passionate. We want to do these great things. And it makes the job really, really hard when it maybe doesn't need to be. It causes a lot of stress on the members. I think that's where being able to enter our team into this race in Vegas has been really special. Because even just within the service, it's a great bonding experience within the service. I've met so many people that I wouldn't have known otherwise that also work for Edmonton Police. Our paths wouldn't have crossed. And it's allowed me to create really great relationships with these people. And I've heard that as well from our team members. It's been wonderful for our mental health, be able to go down and have this positive experience about our job that can feel really heavy at times. And actually, in the past, we've felt the same way. We've come back on this high, like what an incredible experience. And we're more excited to head back to work and kind of share this with people. This year, I'm not sure if we spoke about it when we met earlier, but just a couple weeks before the race, we had two of our officers that were killed at a call. They were shot and killed. Constable Travis Jordan and Constable Brett Ryan. And so that's a very heavy thing for us. It affects all of us in different ways. And to be able to go down, and we are able to honor them on our team this year and have their reg numbers plastered on our vans and on our baton. And so many of the runners felt like slowing down, and they could look down at the baton and see those reg numbers and remember why we are running so hard. And there was so much more meaning behind it this year. It was really special.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And a lot of people don't seem to realize that, look, when an officer gets, taken out, whether in the line of duty or not, I mean, look, this is one of the ones that are protecting and serving you. So folks, you really need to pay attention to what the heck's going on out there.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's hard to get the message across. But all we can really do is, have moments like this where we can at least put out a positive word. Same with at work. We have to just try really hard to shake that stuff and do the best that we can to try to leave those positive impressions on people.
Well, sure. Now, going from Baker, I know this rather well. From Baker to, I think you go to Pahrump, do you not?
Yes, you do go to Pahrump.
Yeah, so technically, and Baker, folks, in case you don't know, that's where the world's tallest thermometer is. And you've seen that on Vegas Vacation, of course, right? Vegas Vacation is a pretty popular movie here. And still, it's old, but it's a funny one. But anyway, that's the world's tallest thermometer there. And Baker is also the gateway to Death Valley. And imagine doing your 120 miles in the dead of summer. Oh my, that would be awful.
Yeah. It gets really hot. So some of the runners will end up running at night where it actually is really cold. But those daytime runners, it is a struggle. They have to push so hard. I mean, everybody does. They're pushing to compete with themselves and to the runner next to them. But those daytime runs get hot. Out on the pavement with a hot van next to you, because every runner has a follow van with them. The engine's pushing out even more heat. I'm going to be in Celsius here, so you might have to translate for me.
Well, I mean, if you're talking 40 to 43 degrees Celsius, I mean, folks, you're talking about 120 degrees. It's toasty.
It is very, very warm. And there's a lot of medical emergencies that happen out there. And it's a very serious event for being how fun it is.
Right. For the average person out there, Amanda, that for a quick way to get a roundabout number to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, for all you people, all you Americans like me that didn't grow up with the metric system, it's basically take your number, the Celsius number, times 2 and add 30, and it'll come up to something close to what the real temperature is in Fahrenheit.
Perfect. That's easy.
Yeah, I think that seems to work. Nice simple round of applause for that. Right? I mean, we do know, of course, liters, because people buy the 2 liters of soda. Right? A lot of people buy those. I could buy those. But, you were talking about the vans and whatnot. And not too long ago, I believe there was your race. And I ride my bicycle late night. And it happened that I was riding down, I got to the intersection of Desert Inn and Rainbow here in Las Vegas. And I noticed there was 2 police cars that were there for stopping traffic so the runners could actually go with the vans. And I was watching them go by, and I was talking to one of the officers, and I said, "Hey, I know what this is." And he goes, "Well, what do you think it is?" And I told him, he's like, "How the heck do you know?" I said, "Well, because I ran into somebody from the Edmonton Police Service, and they were telling me about this just yesterday," kind of thing. And so there it was. So it was cool because he and I actually had a chance to talk a little bit about it, and most civilians don't know about it.
Yeah, most civilians don't know about it. And I mean, most police officers in Canada don't even know about it. I only happen to know because the RCMP had been putting in a team for so long. So it'd be great to get the word out there. It's such an incredible event, such a huge undertaking on their part. I can't even imagine coordinating that. We only coordinate our one of 234 teams. They are managing everyone. It's pretty incredible. They have over 1,000 volunteers that come out and help with the race course. And then they have several officers from various units helping with traffic control. It's an incredible thing to see.
Okay, so take a quick 30 seconds here. We're coming up to the end of the segment. And tell me if the team is there a team from Calgary, and what is the competitive spirit between Calgary and Edmonton, even with this? Because I know it's fierce when it comes to hockey.
I can't speak for them, but I know that they are our number one team to look out for. I shouldn't share this detail, but I will. We sign up for their timing chart, so we get text messages whenever they pass through legs so that we can keep up with their times. It's all in good fun. They're a great team. They've been doing this for a long time, so they are far well versed in it, but it's a healthy competition. And this year, you know what, they wrote that they were running in honor of EPS all over their vans because of our fallen officers, so they're a wonderful team.
Yeah, but did you beat them?
Well, of course we did.
An astounding round of applause. Yes. And that's for everybody in Edmonton that just loves Calgary so much.
Exactly, yes. A healthy competition.
But it's a conundrum for people that live in Red Deer because it's kind of in between, right?
Yeah, they're split. They have to pick. That's tough to have to pick Edmonton all the time and explain to their family in Calgary.
Yeah, I've heard that one before. We have a hockey guy that works with us, and he lives in Red Deer, and he didn't play for either team, which is really funny because he actually recruits in the National Hockey League over in British Columbia, but he always tries to avoid everything Alberta because of that. Tell you what, Amanda, stick around with us for another segment, okay?
That sounds good.
All right, we're having fun over here with Amanda Burge from the Edmonton Police Service. This is good stuff. You're listening to the Sports Circus right here on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports and independent affiliates from coast to coast. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
My favorite one had to do with the Green Bay Packers. And I love the fact that they dealt off Ty Montgomery because of a blown assignment. Green Bay isn't Green Bay unless they have a good running game. Then they can win 10 Super Bowls. The fact is, you don't have a running game. You've got 70% passing, and that's not where Aaron Rodgers needs to be. He needs to be in a position where he's got a running game to offset the passing game and so forth. I like the move. Green Bay didn't have a running game anyway, so all they're doing is saying, we're going to get rid of you because you don't follow instructions.
Well, he made one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. They traded him on Tuesday.
They should have cut him on Sunday night.
He shouldn't have been on the plane back to Green Bay.
Right, they should have made him walk back to Green Bay.
No, it was a terrible play. Now, he's not a stupid guy. He went to Stanford. He's not a dumb guy.
He's not a dumb guy, but he doesn't follow instructions.
He made a terrible play.
The fact is he didn't follow instructions. And you say he's not a dumb guy. His own agenda he put ahead of his team.
I agree.
Thus, he is a dumb guy. Right or wrong?
Wrong. He just got selfish. You're not going to convince me that a guy from Stanford's a dum-dum.
No!
Yeah, this is Sidney Justin from the Miracles.
So you heard yesterday's show at Roy Firestone. Did you hear a little clip about him going into the office where Smokey was at? That was really good material, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really funny, man.
Yeah, and then you heard him.
I thought it was hilarious. It was cool, though. It was cool. Really cool story, man. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right, and then he gave a couple of bars. Can you give us a couple of more from Ooh Baby Baby? And let's see if you could do it better than Roy Firestone. Come on, man!
All right, you know what? Why not? I did you wrong. My heart went out to play, but in the game I lost you. What a price to pay. Hey, I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. How's that, man?
That's
Is that okay? Is that good enough?
That's incredible.
That's fantastic.
You know why? Because that's what you do. You're in the incredible business, Sid. That's awesome. Yes! Only on the Sports Circus. You're going to get sports? You get music?
Hey everybody, this is Barry Katz from the Industry Standard Podcast, and you're listening to the Sports Circus with Sal Tuzzolino.
Okay, folks, welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm the Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the Edmonton Police Service. Yes, up in Alberta. In fact, here to tell you all about the Edmonton Police Service is one of their very finest, and that's Amanda Burge.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Tell everybody about the Edmonton Police Service. What do you do? What's your role there? What does your day-to-day look like, and how can they help you?
Sure. So I've been with the Edmonton Police Service for about 10 or 11 years now. And I have spent most of my time working in patrol. So as a first responder, responding to calls when they come in, calls for service, and doing proactive patrols to try to prevent crimes from occurring.
So you're writing tickets. Are you writing tickets too? I got to ask you about this.
That is a part of the job, primarily for our traffic unit members, but that is a part of the job for patrol if it so comes up.
So I remember this not too terribly long ago. I usually ride my bicycle late night when there's really nobody on the road. And here in Las Vegas, it's actually better that way. Oh, by the way, a big welcome in to everybody listening in from coast to coast on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, from Honolulu on KHKA, CBS Sports 1500, all the way over to WDJY in Atlanta, and a whole bunch of points in between, KJPT, Jackpot Radio right here in Las Vegas, KVGK, as well in Las Vegas, and all of our other affiliates. Auburn, Alabama, big hello to everybody over there in WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves, from Columbus, Georgia, all the way over to Montgomery, Alabama, and a whole bunch of points in between, and everybody else. All right, so Amanda, the reason I mention this is because I remember I got pulled over on my bicycle. Mind you, I have a red and blue strobing light on the back so people could certainly see me, right? And I have a nice big headlight in front. It's almost like a motorcycle light. And the officer pulled me over, and he says, I need you to step off the bicycle, stand in front of the vehicle. I'm like, okay, sure. What did I do? He goes, are you aware that you went through that red light? And I said, well, I did look left. I looked right. I looked left again. Then I looked right again. And there was no cars literally within at least a half a mile down the road, either direction. He goes, well, you still can't do that. I need your driver's license. And mind you, I'm on a bicycle. And I'm thinking, okay. Luckily, I had my phone, and I had I took a picture of my license in there. But I found this a little bit unusual. And so I'll withhold the officer's name here in Las Vegas. But when you turn on the telephone, when I actually press the on button, I have network logo on there, right? So you could see that there's something for the major media. And then when I unlock the phone, my splash screen, it has the same thing. And then he asked a question right away. He's like, well, are you with so-and-so network? I'm like, well, I do appear on these particular stations. And so I noticed his whole demeanor changed and everything. And I found that a little unusual. And then he actually turns off his personal camera, the body cam. So we get into a casual conversation about sports, but I found that what if I wasn't a member of the media and I was pulled over? Look, this guy didn't give me a ticket. He was like, well, I'll give you a warning. Okay, whatever. So I ran a red light on my bicycle. I don't even know what the law is on that. But the reality is I was given a particular treatment because I was a member of the media. And by the way, not the fake news, if you know what I mean. Right. But the reality is that I think that there's some inequality in the citizens, if it's Joe Blow or Josephine Blosephine, whatever, getting pulled over and they don't have the same. How would you react, Amanda, to something like this? Because to me, I found that highly unusual, and I thought it was remarkably unfair to all the other people. So I got a little extra treatment because of this, but that's not cool. You're supposed to treat everybody the same way, aren't you?
Yeah, I would have to agree that does seem pretty unfair. The thing that I am seeing a lot is not necessarily policing in general, but everyone, as an individual, they have their biases. And so whatever his individual bias might have been, maybe he felt like if he gave you a ticket, there'd be some bad media on him, or whatever his instance was that made him change his demeanor with you.
Right.
I can't speak to that, but everyone has their own internal biases conscious or unconscious, we all have biases. That's how we are. And it's really important for, in my opinion, police services to do training on conscious and subconscious biases and how that comes across, because that also plays a huge factor into obviously the hot topic with policing on the racial controversies behind it is everybody feels that police officers are racist and all of that. And I won't go into that too much.
Well, actually, it was the other way. He was African American, and I'm the standard Caucasian white guy, right? And so, just what you were saying. So here the question is now. It's almost like, was it a reverse racism thing? Nah, I'm not even going to think about that. But I guess my point is, what if it is a minority officer pulling over a Caucasian individual that doesn't have any media credentials or anything like that? What happens in that situation? And how in the world is that even compared in fairness to what my situation was?
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that it's a race matter. What I mean is everybody has biases. And so police services need to make an effort to focus some training for all police officers on their biases and how to be fair with how they treat people, because that is even a status issue. If you are a wealthy person versus someone that is not well off, you should not be treated differently. And I think that that's a really valuable thing, but that is something that has to be trained to officers, because a lot of times I've noticed that is like subconscious. They are not aware of that bias. And that's where training is really, really valuable. I've taken some courses on that in the past that I was provided with the Edmonton Police Service. And I've never considered myself to be a biased person to begin with, but it opened up my eyes remarkably to even seeing how other people are reacting in those situations.
Okay, so I've got something for you here. I'm going to shift gears on you just because I can. We think of biases and we think of crazy things. What's the craziest thing you think of in Scotland? Maybe the Loch Ness Monster, right?
Sure.
So, but what about the Ogopogo? The Canadians' version of the Loch Ness Monster. What do you think about that?
That it's real?
Hey, listen, folks, why are we talking about this? First of all, it's a circus, and we prove it every day. And in case you don't know anything about it, right here, I found something on thetravelwhatever.com. Anyway, it says, Canada has its very own equivalent to the Loch Ness Monster, and it's known as Ogopogo. And it was allegedly first spotted by the First Nations people in the 19th century, and it's described as being a multi-hump sea serpent that's between 12 and 15 meters long. Now, in case you don't know how to do the math on that, a meter is essentially 3 feet long, so you're talking up to 45 feet. And apparently, the Ogopogo lives in Okanagan Lake in British Columbia. Right. And there are several reports of the sightings. However, most of those result in fuzzy images from far distances. I guess it's kind of like Sasquatch, right? What's your take of it? Is it legit or is it not?
Yeah, I've actually spent some time Googling. We like to head out to BC when we can. It's beautiful in British Columbia. If people are looking for a great place to travel in Canada, it's wonderful, great wine. We've spent some time out there, and I've spent some time Googling, and you're absolutely right. Most of the photos are very, very grainy, but you have to believe it. It's a Canadian icon. You have to believe it.
Why would you think the photos are the photos that way? Because they're taken at nighttime, and the pictures maybe they're pixelated a little bit, and when you try to focus in, things get a little bit fuzzy.
Even the recent photos are like someone used an old flip phone with the very first camera in it. They're not great quality. I don't think there's any excuse for the quality of those photos.
So what you're saying are people in Canada still use flip phones? Right? Come on. No, I'm just playing. I mean, it's just one of those, like when I think of Loch Ness Monster, and I have been to Loch Ness. And of course, the first thing everybody wants to see is, oh yeah, we're going to Loch Ness. And well, you're going to see the monster. No, you're not going to see the monster unless, I don't know, you're lucky enough to. But that's one of those things that you think about when you go to British Columbia. And if you happen to be there and if you happen to know about Ogopogo, well, hey, look, it's a real thing. Were you looking for it when you were there?
Be Always. Honest. You got to be on the lookout for that thing. You never know when it's going to pop up.
And what's going to happen if you see it? What do? What if it's within a short distance? Is it also amphibious? Can it go out on land and get you, or is it just in the water?
I don't know if it's even vicious. What if it's just friendly?
Right.
It's Canadian.
Well, that's right. Absolutely right. So, I mean, it could be a friendly monster, but people call it a monster. It's not necessarily a monster. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know, the great god of water's pet. I mean, who the heck knows? But I'll tell you what, at 45 feet, I'd be a little bit scared if I was in the water, if I saw that, if you know what I mean.
It'd probably just bump your boat and say, "Oh, sorry," and carry on. So
it could do that. I mean, unlike a whale shark, which is actually bigger than that, which the whale shark is the biggest fish or the biggest mammal in the water, period. Boy, that's pretty scary stuff. I don't know about this Ogopogo thing. Folks, you're going to have to Google that, just like I did. And listen, I've got more here when we come back. Amanda, we're keeping you for one more segment because we can. We have other things Canadian to discuss with you.
That sounds great.
I hope you're having a good time.
I am.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Last more to come here with Amanda Burge from the Edmonton Police Service. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, Norman. Don't call me Norman. Call me Chubsy Ubsy.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Don't wait. Call right now. 888-794-1630. 888-794-1630. Write it down. 888-794-1630. Again, for the last time, 888-794-1630. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557.
You're watching the Sports Circus, and I am Brian Erlacher.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas on KJPT and KVGK Radio right here in Las Vegas from the AMP TV studios. AAMP stands for All Ages Media Programming Television, in case you're keeping score. Folks, make sure you check out the sportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are podcasts, and there's a couple thousand of those. You can watch them or listen to them on pick your favorite platform, whether it's Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple or Amazon or Audible, whatever. You can't get away from us, folks. We're everywhere. Hell, we're even in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast on hotel television, as well as Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, WOW, Cable Television, and Time Warner across these United States of America, as well as all of our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates. And also, while you're at the sportscircus.com, make sure you check out the partners page. One of those partners that we work with since the very beginning when we started the show back in 2016, and the Wayback Time Machine, is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. All right. You never know, folks. We may have a upcoming sharing of logos and or maybe an extra partner on the page. Potentially, we'll have to get that cleared with whoever the tops of the tops are with the Edmonton Police Service. We have one of their finest with us today. That's Amanda Burge as a constable for the Edmonton Police Service. And Amanda, welcome back again for the final segment of the show.
Thank you, Sal.
Sure thing. So in between segments, we're talking a little bit of sports, and we did mention the CFL. We'll get to that in a moment. Not anything specific, though. We don't want to talk about certain things because we don't have to. But more importantly, I want to know, is curling a real sport, or is it just a giant game of shuffleboard?
No, curling is amazing. If you know the rules, and it can get intense sometimes. I love curling.
Well, I like the curls too, but those are more of the 12-ounce curls, if you know what I mean.
Hey, that's fair. That sometimes goes hand in hand.
Right. Okay, so for all those that don't know, give everybody a quick overview of what curling is.
Yeah, so curling, there's several sheets of ice in the curling rink, and they're basically rocks with a handle that opposing teams will give a little gentle toss down the ice. Another one of the team members will try to encourage it along by using a broom to brush the ice. It sounds ridiculous. And there's kind of like a bullseye at the end, and it's about point system where you place that rock and if you can knock out the other team's rocks. It does get intense. That's a very, very basic summation of it, but it is a great sport.
So those rocks, folks, in case you don't know what it is, they almost look like, I would say it would probably best resemble, think about a ball and chain. Think about the ball, how it has a chain to it, but imagine the ball has been kind of flattened out so it looks like an overgrown hockey puck. It's really large with a handle, right? So it's made of like some kind of a stone material, whatever, but it's got a handle on it, and you have one person, this is what I've seen. Now, mind you, I don't play this, but I've watched some of it on TV, and I must say with my Canadian friends, it was absolutely necessary to have a Molson or something like this in your hand while watching it. That's the only way you could actually do it if you're American. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and yes, Canadians are very passionate about it. So there's basically one person that slides this giant rock with a handle, and they kind of twist it to curve it and all kinds of cool stuff like that. And then there's somebody that's sweeping the ice in front to, I guess that really slows down the stone. Is that correct, Amanda?
I believe it speeds up the stone, but I could be.
Well, see, I don't know. I mean, of course, what am I supposed to know? I don't know this stuff.
I'm not an Olympian curler.
I don't know. Speed it up, slow it down. What the hell's the difference? I mean, when you sweep the floor up, the floor gets a little bit more faster, I suppose. Maybe that's what it is. So maybe there's debris on the ice.
Yeah, I think just some of the friction gets the rock moving a little bit faster.
Oh.
There's an art to curling that I love curling. It is a fun sport to watch. I've tried it. I can barely stand up on the ice. I'm terrible at it, but it is a fun one.
Okay. I mean, well, look, this comes up because it's an Olympic sport. Right?
It's incredible.
It's a sport. It's more of a skill game. Wouldn't you agree?
Definitely, yeah. It's a skill game for sure.
Okay, so my next question to you is, what is the difference between a skill game and a sport?
Well, I guess they all require a fair amount of skill.
Yes, but it's like a Venn diagram, right? I mean, just because one fits in one doesn't mean it fits in the other.
That is very true. I guess curling requires skill to actually succeed with it, period. A sport can also be played for fun, but if you don't even have a little bit of skill, you're not going to get anywhere with curling.
Right. Okay, well, the reason I say this, I mean, look, I know that I've always had a bias against certain alleged sports as being sports when, let's face it, folks, if you could drink a beer and do it, in my opinion, it is not a sport. I'm sorry, but, that's just how I feel about it. I mean, is throwing darts a sport? No, it's a skill game, and you could drink it, but you don't have to be physically fit to throw a dart. Now, do you?
I mean, at least one arm.
Okay, all right. Well, in the same light, I mean, look, I grew up bowling. My mother was on the professional bowlers tour, the women's professional bowlers tour, but bowling is a skill game as well. It's not a sport, okay? Now, Amanda, I used to say this about auto racing until last year when I just happened to be down at Daytona. I had a day off from all my work stuff, and I went to take a tour of Daytona. I was like, wow, I'm here. This is the Super Bowl of racing, right? So it was the summertime, and so I was able to talk my way into one of those NASCAR cars. And the guy says, well, we're going to go about 170 miles an hour. I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops and whatever, and I've got my camera going. This guy's in the full-blown fire retardant suit, the helmet and everything. Not me. I'm just the stupid American that does what we do. We just live life on the edge. And I have to tell you, we hit about 204 miles an hour, and I was literally being sucked out of the window because, of course, there are no windows, but out of the area where the window would be, right? I mean, I had no idea of the pressure it was to be in one of those cars, let alone being on a track with 40 other cars. I couldn't even imagine. So I completely retracted my statement of auto racing not being a sport. But I'm still trying to figure this curling. I'm trying to figure out this curling thing. How the hell can curling be a sport?
Well, you need a special shoe and there's equipment.
It sounds like bowling to me. Okay, so let's compare that. Let's compare that to your Edmonton Elks, the former Edmonton Eskimos, right? Talk to me about Edmonton Elks football. What do you know about it?
I don't know much. I know that we have our Edmonton team, and I've worked a few games there before on the extra duty shifts that we talked about earlier.
Right. I believe the colors were green and yellow, aren't they?
Green and yellow, yep. Same with the university here. University of Alberta is also green and yellow.
Okay.
And those colors remained when they changed the Elks.
Okay. So when did they change the name?
Oh gosh, I don't know if it was. It must have been a couple years now. I mean, don't remember which year it was.
Right. Geez, I would have thought that having the Eskimos, I think that would be a tribute to a hard-working, durable human being. It doesn't seem to me very offensive, but then again, I'm not an Eskimo, so I wouldn't know.
Well, I think that it's often because the correct term is Inuit. So Eskimo's kind of an outdated term. Right. And some Inuit people were okay with it, and some really did not care for it. Some did find it highly offensive.
Well, geez, they had their own football team. Come on.
Yeah, but maybe if it was the Edmonton Inuits, they would have been more on board with it. I'm not sure. But there was a bunch of voting that was done and a bunch of different names that were put out, and Elks ended up being the final decision.
Did you vote?
I actually didn't vote, no. I actually didn't. I shouldn't say this, but I will. I didn't care for any of the names that they put forward, so I didn't vote on any of them.
What were the other names that were available?
Oh, I don't remember. I think they were all with an E, but they were just not great. I
Right,
don't remember what they were. I'd have to look back.
Emu wasn't one of those, if you know what I mean. Right? The Edmonton Emus. Yeah, something tells me that probably wouldn't be it. But you know what? You have a lot of rough weather up there. You have big weather swings. And I would imagine something to deal with weather could have been a big hit there.
Maybe, yeah. What do you recommend?
I don't know. I don't have anything. I mean, you already picked a team name up there. Well, actually, you didn't because you decided not to vote. Right? So we have to give you an astounding round of boos for that one.
That is fair.
Right. But generally speaking, I mean, look, this is, folks, if you don't know, I mean, Edmonton's a very cool place, not because we have somebody with us in our last couple of minutes of the show from Edmonton, and in fact, it's from the Edmonton Police Service, that's Amanda Burge, but the reality is, look, this is a very diversified land with some very nice people. And let's face it, these are the same people in Canada. What do? They say I'm sorry a lot, but also they do an annual polar bear swim in January. Somehow, for some crazy reason, I'm not sure why the Canadians do this, spend 30 seconds and talk about it, and then we'll go ahead and take this show off the air. Go ahead.
So there's the polar bear swim in sport of the Special Olympics that's done every year. I myself have not participated in it because I am cold all summer. But there's several police officers that do participate. I even saw our chief jump in this year.
Really? Chief
McPhee. Yep. It was remarkable to see. Everybody comes out in great outfits, and it's a pretty incredible thing. I'm probably a one-off that doesn't like the cold. Everybody here likes the cold. My husband wears shorts all year, even in the winter. But that's just, I think I'm meant more for a climate bite like Vegas.
Well, you're right. Exactly. Well, your husband probably has blood like motor oil. I grew up in cold weather in Chicago, so I have the same thing. I wear shorts literally all year round, unless I have a meeting, of course. But I have to tell you, the cold weather, it's just a speed bump in life, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And it's, it's actually really enjoyable. The winter time is really beautiful.
Yeah, I like it too. All right, well, that's going to do it for today's show. Amanda, go ahead and take a quick 30 seconds and plug the Edmonton Police Service. Tell everybody great things about it, and then we'll go off the air.
Yes, Edmonton Police Service. You know what? If you're looking for a great career in law enforcement, I have to say the Edmonton Police Service is one of the best forefront in training. We have really, really great people to work with, and it's a really fun place to police.
What is the website? People can learn more.
Yes, joineps.ca. Everything's .ca up here, in case you didn't know that, for Great Canada. So joineps.ca, really incredible stuff happening with our service, incredible ongoing training, and yeah, it's a really, really great place to work.
That's great stuff. All right, folks, we're going to see you next time right here on your favorite station, and it's been a pleasure having Amanda Burge from the Edmonton Police Service with us, and I saw an astounding round of applause. Of course, we did boo her for not voting on the Edmonton Elks football name, but that's okay. That's all good stuff. It's all in good fun. Good people, good bunch of people. They're very friendly. And guess what, folks? Next time you see a police officer, wave to them, say hello, and have a wonderful day. That's going to do it for the show today. We'll see you next time in about 23 hours. So long, everyone.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.